Hi, good morning everyone. I am Sharami Ampayo, a BSBA OM3 student. We are Group 5 and we are here to report about integrating the supply chain. But first, let me introduce you to the members of our group. First in our group is yours truly, who will report about integration of the supply chain. Next is Mr. Jermiel Stephen Bagdid with his topic Internal Integration Function to Function. Next is Mr. Clifford James Lopez, in which the topic is about electronic integration. Next is Ms. Jubilee Ann Rodriguez, in which she will talk about category management. And last but not the least, Ms. Consuelo Asigurado with her topic collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment. So let's begin. Before we jump into our discussions, we must know first is definitions and objectives of the topic. The title of our topic is called Integrating the Supply Chain. Do you know the definition of integration and supply chain? Let's find out. The word integration literally means to combine into a whole. On the other hand, as we all know, supply chain is the entire system of producing and delivering a product or service from sourcing the raw materials to the final delivery of the product or service to end customers. If we combine the two, integrating the supply chain simply means the process where all the parties involved with the fulfillment of a product are integrated into a single system. This requires significant coordination and alignment in order to ensure everyone is effectively working toward the same goal at all times. The planned objectives of this chapter are to explain the need to coordinate the processes and the opportunities for collaboration between partners within supply chains. Second, to show how the management of supply chains can be leveraged by improving new product introductions, promotions, product ranges, and replenishment. Third, to identify methods for implementing collaborative planning between supply chain members. And lastly, to develop a framework for managing the supply chain. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to understand the benefits of collaboration within supply chains, the ways to improve responsiveness to the end customer, and the key aspects of managing the supply chain. So what drives integration in the supply chain? There's this one company that can answer that question. Do you know the name of the company that uses this logo? You're right. It is Procter & Gamble Company. Their company is an American multinational consumer goods corporation headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, founded in 1837 by William Procter and James Gamble. Their design is to design the supply chain to meet the needs of end customers, starting from point of sale and working backwards to deliver the right product, the right place, at the right time, of the right quality. The following are the 4 principles of Procter & Gamble's supply chain strategy. First is to produce every product that needs to be produced every day through short cycle production. Short cycle production has plenty of advantages, one of which is the better positioning for distribution channels. A shorter production cycle is a powerful selling point to companies seeking to please their distributors. The ability to produce on a tighter timetable improves distributor relationships and attractiveness, thus increasing market share and reliability. Second is to communicate with suppliers in real time. Effective, open two-way communication is at the heart of any strong business relationship. If you don't talk to your suppliers, you can't learn enough about them to build mutually beneficial arrangements. Third is to draw demand data from the point nearest to the end customer, in this case, the retail cash register. A retail cash register logs transactions that occur in stores, creating a record of the money coming in and going out. It can also calculate and add taxes, generate receipts, and offer basic sales tracking. Lastly is the collaboration between all supply chain partners using a multifunctional approach, commercial and supply chain working together, and aligned metrics focusing on delivering to the end customer. Collaborating and sharing of information leads to enhanced knowledge across the chain that allows you to achieve lower inventory levels and higher inventory turns, lower transportation and warehousing costs, lower out-of-stock levels, and shorter lead times, and many more. All of these principles involve integration, both internal and external. Integration in the context of supply chain is concerned with coordination, establishing the rules of the road whereby material and information flows work in practice. Integration was measured across 8 variables as follows. First, access to planning systems. Second, sharing production plans. Third, joint EDI access or networks. Fourth, knowledge of inventory mix or levels. Fifth, packaging customization. Sixth, delivery frequencies. Seventh, common logistical equipment or containers. And lastly, common use of third-party logistics. The authors of the book found that the broadest integration strategies led to the highest rates of significant performance improvements. For the next topic, we have Mr. Journal Stefan who will report about internal integration.
Thank you, Ms. Amplayo. Firms with higher internal integration demonstrated higher relative logistics performance compared with less integrated firms. There was no difference between high and low integration firms on basic service. That is, consistent delivery on request data and advanced certification of delays and shortages. However, on the higher value service elements such as delivery reliability, there was a significant difference. High integration firms had higher performance in terms of meeting customer needs, accommodating special customer requests, and new product introductions. These resulted in an enhanced customer perception of the organization. Similar conclusions are arrived at by Windle and Lakeman, especially where the firm is developing integrated products and services such as Power for Life. The study of Spanish food manufacturers by Jimenez shows that the highest levels of external integration are achieved by firms which have already achieved the highest level of internal integration between logistics, production, and marketing. The implications of this research are that firms should continue to work at improving internal integration. For example, functional barriers between purchasing, manufacturing, and distribution may lead to the following scenarios. First is that purchasing buys casting on the basis of low price, but the supplier has a poor record for delivery reliability and quality. Manufacturing is then faced with uncertain deliveries and high reject rates. Second, manufacturing aims to keep machine and labor productivity high, so batch sizes are kept high. Distribution is faced with poor availability, especially of Class B and C parts. Lastly, distribution wants to maintain a fast throughput warehousing operation, so resists carrying out any post-manufacturing operations. Manufacturing is faced with additional complexity of customizing products. Internal integration is the key starting point for broader integration across the supply chain. As Robert Lynch said, for some reason, alliance professionals find it easier to create alliances with their major competitors than with other divisions in their own companies. We don't deal with our own internal integration. How can we integrate external if we can do it internally? Next is the intercompany integration, a manual approach. If significant improvements can be achieved by internal integration, potential for the benefits of external integration could be even higher. This was demonstrated by the Bose Corporation, a US-based manufacturing of hi-fi equipment. In the early 1990s, when they developed the GIT2 concept, Bose recognized that if the traditional buyer-supplier relationships were to be made more effective, more people would be required in their organization. However, budget constraint meant that no additional people could be employed in this role. This acted as a driver to develop the GI2 concept. A logical extension of the just-in-time concept described in Chapter 6 is to place customer and supplier processes closer together. The GIT2 approaches goes a stage further by eliminating the buyer and the salesman from the customer-supplier relationship, thus fostering increased communication between the parties. The principle is simple. A supplier employee who resides full-time in the customer's purchasing office replaces the buyer and supplier. This supplier in plant is empowered to use the customer's scheduling system to place orders with their own company. In addition, the supplier in plant does the material planning for the materials supplied by his company. The supplier in plant is also part of the production planning process, so production is planned concurrently with the supplier organization. This form of integration streamlines the supply process by removing the multi-level planner, buyer, salesman, supplier, plant process by making this the responsibility of one individual. This dramatically reduces the demand uncertainty experienced by the supplier organization. The benefits of this streamlining have also resulted in major business improvements for both. These include, first, 50% improvement in terms of on-time deliveries, damage, and shortages. Next, 6% reduction in material cost. Next, 26% improvement in equipment utilization. And lastly, major reduction in inventory holdings. The Bose supplier and plant concept demonstrates how collaboration and integration can benefit the supply chain. The supplier and plant can, to a large degree, be superseded by today's electronic integration technique. For the next topic, we have Mr. Clifford James Lopez who will report about electronic integration.
Thank you for that, Mr. Pagid. Now, let's move to the next topic, which is electronic integration. E-business is a term used to cover trading with a firm's suppliers and business customers, that is, business to business by electronic means. So, a feature of business to business is the formation of online trading communities and electronic marketplace. Such structures have been enabled by explosion of internet technology and seek to offer cost reductions in procurement of both direct and indirect, and also in processing of such transactions. Technologies based on the internet offer worldwide connectivity and relative ease to access. Trading partners can integrate electronically in three ways. First is transactional, second, information sharing, third is a collaborative planning. Transactional, the electronic execution of transactions. This is usually found in business-to-business e-commerce. The transactional relationship in supply chain is the period between the time it takes you to pay the suppliers and the time it takes for you to get paid by your buyers. Supplier to manufacturers, manufacturer to retailer, retailer to consumer, and consumer to consumer. In this case of consumer to consumer is that the foreign buyers that purchase goods from you are not the end users of the products. The next will be information sharing. The electronic sharing or exchange of information. Information sharing describes the exchange of data between various organizations, people, and technologies. This could be done electronically or through certain systems. Online information sharing gives useful data to business for future strategies based on online sharing. Information sharing and technology is one of the key aspects of coordination amongst parties in a supply chain. There are several types of information sharing. Information shared by individuals such as video shared on Facebook or YouTube. Next is information shared by organizations. Example will be the tracking and tracing of the shipment of the item you bought in Lazada or Shopee. Lastly, collaborative planning. It is a business practice that combines the intelligence of multiple trading partners in the planning and fulfillment of customer demand, and understand future demand better and to put plans in place to satisfy such demand. The trading partners collaborate on a new product planning, demand forecasting, and replenishment planning, and work closely to align their organization's plan. Example, Cisco provides leading networking, security, and collaboration solutions for Apple products. Apple and Cisco are creating the best experience using Apple devices on Cisco networks with the integration of iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and the latest technology for Cisco. Efficient consumer response is a strategic concept aiming to recover competitive strength. ECR is a strategy to increase the level of services to consumers through close cooperation amongst retailers, wholesalers, and manufacturers. By aiming to improve the efficiency of a supply chain as a whole, ECR aims to improve the product flow by minimizing inventory of a supply chain and make cash flow faster. Efficient consumer response decreases time and eliminate cost. Now, let's have Ms. Rodriguez to discuss us about category management.
Thank you for that information, Mr. Lopez. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is category management. Category management is a strategic approach to procurement where organizations segment their spend into areas which contain similar or related products, enabling focus opportunities for consolidation and efficiency. As demand principles have become more important to supply chain initiatives, the category management process has increased in popularity. With an objective of preventing stockhold situations and improving supplier-retailer relations, category management aims to balance retailers' product, volume, and variety objectives. By focusing on category management and measuring promotional efficiency, ECR enables organizations to utilize their joint resources to reduce supply chain inventory levels, streamline product flows, and use cross-dock options where appropriate. Continuous replenishment. Continuous replenishment offers both retailers and their suppliers the opportunity to manage their inventory in a more efficient manner. Each of the 6 stages make up the product replenishment process, illustrated in the figure 8.4, represents a link that integrates the supply chain from product suppliers right through the end customers. In addition, effective replenishment strategies require development of the following capabilities: joint inventory management, cross-dock operations, continuous replenishment, effective logistics strategies and product flow, and lastly, quick response. Enabling technologies. These drive ECR and make it work. They include scanning data, data warehousing, and data mining, which have facilitated our understanding of customer requirements. Examples include EDI, which is increasingly about synchronizing trading data among supply chain partners in advance of doing business, as it allows the transmission of forecasting data back up through the supply chain. Other capabilities required by organizations in order to implement an effective ECR initiative include effective information sharing, automated order generation, barcoding, and the use of other scanning technology. In addition, the data to be shared and communicated at various stages in the supply chain depend on what will provide the most overall benefit. This data should include data, consumption and sales information, cash flow, stocks of finished goods or work in progress, and the delivery and output status. Radio Frequency Identification Devices, or RFID, is a product tracking technology that will soon become nearly universally applied. An RFID, often called a tag, can be attached to a piece of merchandise and inform a reader about the nature and location of what it is attached to. Figure 8.5 shows how the reader can relay this information to a management system that can create a picture of what merchandise is where at level of detail that has not been previously been possible. A big advantage of RFID over barcodes is that the tag does not have to be directly in the line sight of the reader. Tags can be detected by readers remotely because the radio waves pass through many materials. Product tagging allows for several interesting applications, including tracking products throughout the distribution pipeline, asset tracking to provide continuous quantities and position by SKU in the supply chain, tracking products through the back of the store of the shelf. Intelligent shelves, whereby sweeping of products by thieves from shelves in stores shows up automatically and raises alarm signals, registering sales without involving a cashier. A fancied future state is one where shoppers push their trolley past readers that automatically read EPCs for each item in the trolley and present the bill for credit card payment to the shopper without the need for retailer personnel to be involved. For our next topic, we will have Ms. Consuelo Sigurado, who will report about collaborative planning.
So, thank you, Ms. Rodriguez, for that insightful discussion. I am Consuelo Sigurado, and I'm about to discuss collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment, or in short, CPFR. What is CPFR? CPFR links sales and marketing business practices to supply chain planning and execution process that combines the intelligence of multiple trading partners in the planning and fulfillment of customer demand. It increases availability to the customer while reducing inventory, transportation, and logistics costs. aimed at improving collaboration between buyer and supplier so that customer service is improved while inventory management is made more efficient. So the CPR movement originated in 1995. It was the initiative of the 5 companies: Walmart, Warner Lumber, Benchmark Inc. Partners, and the 2 software companies, SAP and Managis. It began when both manufacturers and retailers realized that the lack of information sharing made relationships more costly than they needed to be. The experiences felt in the supply chains were unpredictable ordering patterns, excessive inventories, service failures, among others. The concept and the process was tested initially by exchanging pieces of paper. The 2 companies later demonstrated in a computer laboratory that the internet could be used as a channel for this information exchange. So a business model has been developed that provides an insight into the effort required by both supplier and customer. It is called CPFR process model. It enables significant scope and depth of collaboration across supply chain. It consists of 3 stages and 9 steps. First phase is the planning phase. The first stage is the front-end agreement. The parties involved establish the guidelines and rules for the collaborative relationship. The agreement includes common basis for the cooperation, trust, and availability of competency resources. All parties are bound to make available and ready these competencies and resources for the system to work. The agreement also includes mechanism to handle disagreements and differences. Next is the joint business plan. It involves the parties to create a business plan that takes into account their individual corporate strategies and define category roles, objectives, and tactics. This includes product types, minimum order quantities, lead time, and order frequency. The second phase is forecasting phase, and the stages are sales forecast. Retailers' point of sales data, causal information, and information on the planned events are used by one party to create an initial sales forecast. This forecast is then communicated to the other party and used as a baseline for the creation of an order. Next stage is to identify exceptions for sales forecast. Items that fall outside the sales forecast constraints set in the front-end agreement are identified. For example, items that are seasonal products. Next is resolve or collaborate on exception items. Exceptions are easily identified and messages are sent to reconcile unusual items. Each contributor, partner, supplier, and customer becomes an integral part of a real-time collaborative process. The final enterprise forecast is the combination of the most accurate and timely information available. The parties negotiate and produce an adjusted forecast. Next stage is create order forecast. The order forecast relies on point of sales data, causal information, and inventory strategies to generate a specific forecast that supports shared sales forecast.
Benefits of electronic collaboration. First, there is improved availability of product to the customer and hence more sales. With the update provided by the system, it would be easier to track items that are less on stock so that the supplier can deliver items before it lasts. Second, total service is improved. Total costs are reduced, including inventory, waste, and resources. And capacities can be reduced owing to reductions in uncertainty. Third, processes that span 2 or more companies become far more integrated and hence simple, standard, speedy, and certain. Everything is provided in the system so it would be easier to create more faster transactions. Fourth, information is communicated quickly in a more structured way, and it is transparent across the supply chain to all authorized users. All users know where to find update information. Since it is a give and take of information between the supplier and the customer, and all the data is updated so it would be easier to track the items or orders. Fifth, an audit trail can be provided to say when information was amended. Since everything is in the system, you can track back on the history of transactions whenever audits and checking is necessary. 6. Email prompts can update users of variants and progress and can confirm authorization. Even as when we buy things through the internet, we do always check if asa na ato ang parcel. So, helpful siya if maka-get og updates. So, di ka mag-worry. Samot na kung hindi siya sinulita. 7. The data are in the system that can be used for monitoring and evaluation purposes. The data can be used to evaluate products that has low sales and propose some solutions to improve the sales of the product. Next, the process can be completed in a quick time scale at a lower total cost, and all trading partners become more committed to the shared plans and objectives. Changes are made with more care and more immediately visible to all.
So this is all for part 1. If we have any insights, questions, feedbacks, and reactions, just put it in the comment box below so that our team will respond to it as much as possible. Stay tuned and we'll be back for part 2. Bye-bye!